I went to the Ukraine to teach a class. While I was there, I discovered that the nonprofit groups were all staying in Poland and not crossing into the Ukraine. Supplies that were desperately needed in the Ukraine were still in Poland. Eventually, I met someone that was actively taking supplies into the Ukraine, and I joined them. So a gentleman by the name of Solomon Smith came over here 5 weeks ago on his own personal funds and has been developing an infrastructure of people to distribute supplies throughout the entire Ukraine. He's going to where the needs are the greatest, covering the country, crisscrossing back and forth.
In a hospital that they were looking for medical supplies, and we rented 3 different station wagons, and the one station wagon was empty, didn't have anything in it. I'm like, we gotta fill this. I came by myself, so I didn't, with my own personal money, I can't afford a vehicle full of medical supplies. And I had to pick someone up like at 10 o'clock at night in Krakow. It was a 3-hour drive from where I was at. And I just felt like, no, I need to give this guy a ride and pick him up. And so I'm sent to the airport, and I made a contact with a nonprofit that had been storing a bunch of food at a warehouse along the border. And so I was just on the phone with them, talking about the next trip I do, and if they had some food available, if I could pick it up. And he just made off a comment. He's like, hey, let me call you right back. I got someone that's got medical supplies in Krakow that's trying to find something to do with it. I'm like, I'm here right now. I'll take your supplies. And, he's like, okay, well, give me a second. So, 10 minutes later, they're like, yes, please take this. Supplies has been sitting there for 2 weeks. And no one can do anything with it. And, it was 5 minutes away, did a quick trip, and it was enough to fill the car perfectly, and wasn't exactly 100% what the hospital wanted, but probably about 90% of the hospital was looking for was in that package of supplies. It's just been randomly sitting there, and so all the time, just little things like that.
So I spent a significant amount of time in the Ukraine with Solomon, helping him deliver the supplies and watch the work he's doing, which is just absolutely amazing. There's also the sad things that we see that's going on in the Ukraine that you're all reading about and seeing on the news. So we're in Lviv with just finished getting all of our vests out and delivered and heading to a hotel, and the air raid sirens going out. The announcement is they're expecting impact. So we're gonna go see if we can get a shelter somewhere. So it's been a good day. We've managed to get the bulletproof vest, or Kevlar vest, body armor, whatever you want to call it, delivered to people that need it for the front line. Got through Russian occupied territory and helped out a few refugees get to where they needed to be. So hustling up, trying to see if we can get into a shelter. I can't believe it. They're actually targeting civilian infrastructure. I think that's an oil refinery out there. At least that's what I've been told that they're trying to hit. It's just unbelievable what the Russians are doing to these people. The air raid didn't last long enough to find the bomb shelter, so we wound up making our way to the hotel. We weren't in our rooms very long when the air raid sirens went off again. This time, with the help of the locals, we found the air raid shelter and got down 20 feet underground deep into a World War II vintage bomb shelter. This turned out to be the most emotional night of my life. I wasn't worried about my safety. 20 feet underground, even with the Russian rocket attack, we were safe. What was so incredible was being able to spend time with the locals from Lviv, refugees that were there, and Russian immigrants who'd been living in the area or displaced that were now also refugees. The stories that they told was the most amazing and most emotional thing I've maybe ever heard.
Escape to the place where they live. So they do not pick any kind of things with them. They just take a dog and any kind of small animals and go to another place to escape from war.
So something that happened to me that was very interesting and enlightening last night or early this morning in the bomb shelter is there was a Ukrainian couple that had fled from the 2014 Russian aggression and were now where I was and made a home there. What I found out is the husband was actually Russian and she was Ukrainian, which is how my family came to Canada, part of them anyway, from a Ukrainian, Polish, Russian family. But he opened up after a while, and what he told me is all of his young life, he was in my age group in the 60s, was he'd been told that Americans were bad, evil, the English were bad and evil, and that they should be fearful and not want them. Basically a hate campaign. And that struck home with me because the same time frame I was being taught the same thing. You know, Russia was bad, the Russian people were bad, it was the Cold War era. And the reality is they're people and we're people, and he realized that and kind of put it into much better terms than I could through the interpreter. And so many people in my generation, I think we oftentimes have a natural prejudice against the old Soviet bloc. These Ukrainian people, again, all I can say is they deserve our help, and I think however we can help here is just the humanitarian and the Christian thing we should be doing. I guess I'm just saying I'm falling in love with these people.
Yeah, I agree.
You?
Video.
You? Oh, you take. Oh, okay. I won't take any video.
Hogy mondják, hogy szívesen, vagy...
Будь ласка. Будь ласка.
Що треба казати?
Tuna fish?
Tonhal? Vagy milyen fajta halat esznek itt?
Який вид? Бо вона каже тунець, ну тунець типа дорогий, ну
Тунець сардина, просто сардина. Вот у нас, допустим,
Or sardine, yeah, sardine.
Sardina?
Yes,
Olajban...
Oli.
да.
Aha, jó.
I speak with
Three
Ukraine.
We can do Spanish.
No, a little Slovak.
Yeah, no, I still like it.
So there are 3 requests in the washing machine. So it's late evening here, it's raining, and the welcome we got was unbelievably warm. Looks like they've got more stalls back in there, pig pen out in here.
Nekünk kéne egy kicsit, ez nagyon érdekes minden, de a picik mindjárt fognak menni aludni.
Okay, this is some of the younger people here at the orphanage. They're special needs kids.
Thank you.
How's it going?
Ryan is interacting as he always does with everybody. It doesn't matter they're a kid or an 80-year-old adult or somebody even as old as me. He's always interacting, putting smiles on everybody's face. He must be a very gifted teacher. We just passed a checkpoint that was before this bridge, which is guarding this bridge and the town. I had to put the camera down because they don't want pictures taken of their strategic areas. So had to turn the camera off and put it down. Again, there's no Russian troops in this area, no threat to us. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of this country. Timbered, rolling hills. There's been a little snow. Just absolutely gorgeous. But the Ukrainians are serious about protecting their country and defending their land, and all I can do is say I have nothing but respect for what they're doing. So I've never made a documentary of any kind before. I'm not a filmmaker, but I felt that I needed to put something together for Solomon's Back Road Foundation. We've all heard the horror stories of nonprofit foundations that raise a bunch of money, but only a very small amount actually goes to the people in need. Well, after spending a significant amount of time in the Ukraine with Solomon, I can assure you that any money you donate to Backroads Foundation or Team Solomon actually is going to get to the people in the Ukraine that are in desperate need. Please, I beg you, consider donating to Backroads Foundation because your money will actually get and help the people that are truly in need. These Ukrainian people, they're just like us. They have the same value system that we have here in North America. It's a Christian, Judeo-Christian values. There are people that remind me of my grandparents, hardworking, honest, and stubborn people that just want to be free. The only crime they've committed against Russia is they want to be part of Europe and have a free democracy. And for that, they're being attacked, they're being invaded, they're being killed, they're having incredible architecture destroyed, they're having farmlands and crops destroyed. We got to help these people. I can't emphasize enough that these are a people and a culture that is worth our time, effort, and our money to try to help. My name is Jerry Jakes, and again, please help Team Solomon. Go to backroadsfoundation.org and you'll find all the information that you need to get in touch with them. Thank you.